Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The next question for today is about maladaptive daydreaming. And a person has been suffering from complex trauma. And what happens is a lot of people, they build this fantasy world as a coping mechanism. They start living in a construct that is not realistic to cope with some of the trauma that they have gone through. Problems with that is that they will suffer because it's not real, and it will take their time, it will take their focus, it will cause changes in personality. So again, I would advise ruqya, number one, okay, and counseling for the trauma, because as I said, it is most likely as a coping mechanism, and you have to hit the problem at the site of infection. If you don't target the problem there, the advice is not going to benefit. Most likely you're having this daydreaming because of trauma. So we need to understand the trauma. You said complex trauma, that is even more problematic. We need to address that in terms of counseling. You might need CBT, cognitive behavior therapy. Sometimes it takes time, but with that we can, inshallah, slowly work on those traumas, and you'll find the maladaptive daydreaming disappearing, because the coping mechanisms don't have to be used if the issue is solved. So my advice is, again, number one, make sure you do ruqya on yourself. Ruqya is always one of the first medicine that any Muslim should use. And number two, go for counseling therapy. It can be with one of our counselors. You can come to myself or any of our other counselors, inshallah, to be able to cope with the trauma, to deal with the trauma. We'll understand more about what you are going through, and that we can advise you much, much better. Please keep in mind, brothers and sisters, when we give advice, it's based on what you have written. Okay, this is a very important disclaimer. This is not something you take as a fatwa and that's it. You always have to try to give us as many details as possible. We respond in general as what should be done based on what you have told us. Okay, it's very important because it's a huge responsibility, and may Allah forgive us for any mistakes. Allahu a'lam.